The day was February 27th, 2022. It unfolded like many others in northeast Albuquerque, New Mexico. The sun likely cast its clear, high desert light over the city. Cars moved along the streets, errands were run, lives proceeded with their usual rhythm. Few could have predicted that a simple bumper sticker would ignite a confrontation. This confrontation would escalate, drawing in law enforcement and eventually the courts. Christina Lynn Blair, then 33 years old, found herself at the center of this brewing storm. The incident began, as many do, with a minor irritation on the road. A disagreement between two drivers, a common enough occurrence, yet this one would take a decidedly uncommon turn, spiraling into allegations and legal battles. The catalyst, seemingly innocuous yet potent in a polarized world, was a vaccinated bumper sticker. It adorned the vehicle of an unnamed male driver. For reasons that would later be debated, this sticker caught Miss Blair's attention. What began as a typical urban drive transformed into something more charged. The male driver reported that Miss Blair initiated an aggressive interaction. He claimed she honked her horn insistently. He also stated she began yelling obscenities. These obscenities were, according to him, directed specifically at his choice of bumper sticker, a small declaration of his vaccination status that became an unexpected point of contention on that New Mexico roadway. The air, previously filled with ordinary traffic sounds, now carried the sharp notes of anger. The situation, already tense, escalated further. The male driver alleged that Miss Blair, not content with verbal expressions of disapproval, threw a water bottle at his car. This act, if it occurred as described, marked a shift from words to physical action. It represented a clear heightening of the aggressive behavior he attributed to her. The road became a stage for a small drama, one fueled by differing viewpoints and, allegedly, a thrown projectile. Each action, each word, added another layer to the incident. It was a sequence of events that would be recounted and scrutinized, each detail holding potential significance in the unfolding narrative of that late February day. This initial phase of the encounter set the tone for everything that followed. A bumper sticker, a symbol, became a flashpoint. The ordinary act of driving was interrupted by an extraordinary burst of anger. The male driver's perception was one of unprovoked aggression stemming from his public display of a personal health choice. This perspective would form the basis of his subsequent call to emergency services. He felt targeted, he felt threatened, and his reaction was to seek help. The events were now in motion, leading inexorably towards police involvement and a complex legal aftermath that would question rights, actions, and the very nature of perceived threats. The male driver's account painted a picture of escalating fear on his part. After the alleged honking, yelling, and the thrown water bottle, he stated that he then reversed his vehicle. He claimed this maneuver, which resulted in his car backing into Miss Blair's vehicle, was an accident. He attributed this accidental collision to the fear and panic he felt as a result of Miss Blair's purported actions. He was, in his telling, attempting to create distance or escape the perceived threat. It was in this charged atmosphere, immediately following the collision, that he claimed Miss Blair escalated the situation dramatically. He asserted that she displayed a handgun, a stark and menacing sight in any roadside dispute. Furthermore, the male driver alleged that Christina Lynn Blair did more than just show the weapon. He specifically claimed that she racked the slide of the handgun. This action, if true, would signify loading a round into the chamber, making the firearm ready to fire. It is a universally recognized gesture of imminent threat, a clear signal of potential deadly force. It was this alleged brandishing and preparing of the weapon that prompted him to call 911. He reported to the authorities that a woman had pointed a gun at him, effectively framing the incident as one of aggravated assault from his perspective. His call to the police set in motion the official response to the roadside altercation. However, Christina Lynn Blair's version of events differed significantly, offering a starkly contrasting narrative. In her lawsuit, she contended that she retrieved her handgun purely for self-defense. She felt threatened by the male driver's behavior, particularly after he reversed his vehicle into hers. From her viewpoint, his actions were aggressive and dangerous. She stated that she kept the handgun at or below her waistline, a crucial detail suggesting it was not overtly brandished or aimed. She insisted that she made no threatening motions with the firearm. She explicitly denied pointing the weapon at the other driver or anyone else. This directly contradicted the male driver's most alarming claim. Crucially, Miss Blair also denied racking the slide of her handgun. This detail is paramount, as the act of chambering a round is a significant escalatory step. Her lawsuit asserted that video footage of the encounter, filmed by the other driver himself, actually supported her version of events. This footage, she claimed, would demonstrate the defensive posture she maintained and the absence of any overt threat with the weapon. If the video indeed corroborated her account, it would cast serious doubt on the veracity of the male driver's claims that formed the basis for her subsequent arrest and the serious charges brought against her. The truth, it seemed, might lie within those recorded frames. Following the male driver's 911 call and his detailed accusations, the wheels of justice began to turn, focusing on Christina Lynn Blair. On March 7, 2022, less than 2 weeks after the roadside incident, a grand jury indicted her. The charge was serious aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. This indictment meant that a panel of citizens had found sufficient evidence based on the information presented to them, primarily the male driver's account and initial police reports, to proceed with a criminal case against her. The weight of the state was now formally moving to prosecute Miss Blair for her alleged actions during the confrontation over the bumper sticker. The system was responding to a reported threat. The arrest itself, as detailed in Blair's subsequent lawsuit, was a significant event. It did not happen at the scene of the incident, but later at her home. According to reports, officers arrived at her residence to take her into custody. The lawsuit mentioned that these officers were carrying multiple firearms, presenting a formidable show of force. This detail, if accurate, suggests the police perceived her as a potentially dangerous individual, likely based on the nature of the charge: assault with a deadly weapon, and the report that she had brandished and racked a handgun. The manner of the arrest would later become a point of contention in her legal challenge against the city and the officers involved. A critical aspect raised in relation to the arrest concerned the entry into her home. The information available from news reports did not explicitly mention whether the officers possessed a search warrant to enter her dwelling, though an arrest warrant would allow for entry if they had reason to believe she was inside. The Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution protects citizens from unreasonable searches and seizures, and the sanctity of the home is a cornerstone of this protection. Any ambiguity or irregularity regarding the legal basis for their entry could, and often does, become a significant factor in subsequent legal proceedings, particularly in a lawsuit alleging violation of constitutional rights. The circumstances of her arrest added another layer to her grievances. Miss Blair also had a previous conviction. Court records indicated that she had been convicted of aggravated assault back in 2007. While this past conviction was a matter of historical record, it may have played a role in how law enforcement or prosecutors viewed her current case, perhaps influencing their assessment of her potential for violence or the seriousness with which they treated the allegations made by the male driver. Such prior history, though not direct evidence of guilt in a new case, can sometimes color perceptions and decisions within the criminal justice system. It formed part of the backdrop against which her arrest and indictment for the 2022 incident took place. The criminal case against Christina Lynn Blair moved swiftly, but not in the direction one might have expected, given the indictment. On March 11, 2022, just 4 days after being indicted, Miss Blair appeared in court and pleaded not guilty to the charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Astonishingly, on that very same day, the charges against her were dismissed. This sudden reversal was significant. Prosecutors, upon a closer review of the case and the applicable state law, concluded that the evidence did not support the charge. This rapid dismissal suggested a potential misapplication or misunderstanding of the law in the initial stages of the prosecution. The reasoning behind the dismissal was rooted in New Mexico's specific statutes regarding firearms. Prosecutors noted that New Mexico law does not criminalize the act of being visibly armed during a verbal argument, provided no explicit threat of force is made with the weapon. If Miss Blair merely retrieved her handgun and kept it by her side without pointing it or making verbal threats of its use, her actions, while perhaps unsettling to the other driver, might not have met the legal threshold for aggravated assault in that state. This legal nuance was crucial and ultimately led to the collapse of the criminal case against her, validating to some extent her assertion that she acted in self-defense without making unlawful threats. Despite the dismissal of criminal charges, the ordeal was far from over for Christina Lynn Blair. She subsequently filed a civil lawsuit against the city of Albuquerque and two of the arresting police officers. Her lawsuit alleged several serious complaints: unlawful arrest based on what she contended was false information provided by the other driver, a violation of her constitutional rights, and the use of excessive force during her arrest at her home. She argued that the police acted without proper due diligence, relying on a one-sided account without fully considering her perspective or, potentially, the video evidence she claimed supported her. The lawsuit sought to hold the authorities accountable for their actions. The implications of Miss Blair's case and her subsequent lawsuit extend beyond her personal experience. They touch upon fundamental constitutional rights, including the Fourth Amendment's protection against unreasonable seizures, arrests, and the right to bear arms, albeit within legal limits. The lawsuit also highlighted concerns about potential excessive force by law enforcement and the importance of thorough investigation before depriving a citizen of their liberty. As a direct consequence of the arrest and the media attention it garnered, Miss Blair reportedly lost her job. Her attorney, Christopher Dodd, emphasized that the Albuquerque Police Department failed to adhere to both constitutional and state laws, causing his client significant distress and damages, for which she sought unspecified compensation. The case serves as a stark reminder of the impact such encounters can have on individuals and the ongoing dialogue about police conduct and citizen rights.